I don't think it would be wrong to say that last week at Config, the way designers would be interacting with their workflows has been changed, has been redefined.
And they compared it to like the iPhone. Like Apple made a lot of money, right, just on the iPhone. But there was even more money made on all the software that was built for it, right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
all the apps like Airbnb, Uber, all those combined, the application layer can make way more money than just the hardware.
I curated a small list of things that I feel would not be replaced by AI at all.
Yeah.
The first thing in my list, and I would love to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Design Should Be Fun. My name is Ayush.
I'm Dayton, and we are coming live from Seattle at the University of Washington. We have a few different things we're going to talk about today on today's docket. One, coming off of last week's high of Config, right? We had how many launches? It was four
different launches. There were
four
total
product
of
launches.
I guess there were, if we include features, I feel there were 6 different features. 5 of them were primary ones, and then there were 4 different product launches.
Full new products.
4
Insane.
new products. So yeah. I don't think it would be wrong to say that last week at Config, the way designers would be interacting with their workflows has been changed, has been redefined.
It's been forced to be redefined.
Yeah.
It's going to change a lot of ways of working from websites and products, etc.
I feel so, but I as we discussed, I saw that coming a little bit because designers have been moving to more tactical prototyping, which was they were using V0. We are using V0 for our capstone. So
yeah, you are.
Yeah. So people have been using V0. People have been using Cursor to just create those interfaces, and people have been moving towards the trend of just starting to write things down, and they want to see something happening, and they want a first draft of things on the basis of which they can update and move forward from that, which I feel they saw and they addressed it with Figma Make. Just amazing.
Yeah. And then we're also going to talk about Airbnb's new redesign. They have a new design system now with a lot of 3D icons, things like that, something that we haven't really seen in modern UIs. Usually it's like a flat UI, so it's an interesting take there. And then last, we want to talk about qualities of designers that could not be replaced by AI. And I know you got a lot to say there, so we're excited for that part.
Exactly. So just kicking off things for Figma and last week's config, 4 new different products. I mean, it was Figma. The first thing that they launched was Figma Sites. Then Figma Make, then there was Buzz, and there was again Draw. 4 different products. What do you have to say on that?
Well, so the first one, Figma Sites, is the one they released, right? So that's going to allow any designer to design something in Figma and then launch it to a URL right away.
Directly.
So it's similar to Framer, most similar to Framer.
Most similar to
right?
Similar,
but you can stay all in one platform in Figma and launch it. It's going to change the way a lot of people work. I think it's interesting because a lot of agencies and consulting firms, like most websites on the internet, like even Mercedes-Benz to like Coca-Cola to all these websites are designed by agencies. And like agencies will design it in Figma, then they'll hand off to a whole dev team to put it in a CMS and some other platform. But now there's an opportunity just for designers to do it all by themselves.
Exactly.
So it's gonna be interesting how maybe even changes the business model of consulting firms and agencies, because a design team can do it all.
Exactly.
They don't need all the developers anymore. I'm
also thinking of the firms or the studios, the design studios. They didn't have developers prior to this event. They would have the agency to just come up with full-fledged sites on the basis of designs. They just have to use best practices inside Figma. They have to make components. They have to use auto layout wherever they can. And they can just come up with final versions of the websites. So I feel this is really empowering for designers. But at the same time, it's also forcing a lot of other job roles to be a designer too. So if
who you can still make engineers be designers, you're saying, or who's gonna make be designers?
I feel the way I have seen things, majority of the PMs have the ideas, they have the business perspective, they know the features. Now, not just with sites. Let's also briefly talk about Figma Make.
Okay. Well, recap Figma Make though, 'cause I actually didn't watch the entire keynote, so I only know bits and pieces of the other products. So yeah, rehash what Figma Make is.
Figma Make is just like if you guys have used V0, it's essentially the right hand side of the window is where everything would be happening, everything would be created. The left hand side would be a chat where you can just give it the prompt, what you exactly want, and will create that for you. And they just launched it, and it's not
okay,
and it's not just design. It's with code,
right?
So
right.
I mean, and I have seen people critiquing it, the people who are using it. I've seen screenshots where it's just a button, but there are 10 different layers of code. I mean, 10 different divs inside it. And people are struggling a little bit on why Figma, why are you doing this? So yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's under
for one button and 10 divs inside. That makes no sense.
Yeah. So we'll attach the screenshot somewhere, but but yeah, it was fun to see people critiquing Figma, and they are just launching it right now. They wanted to mention that they are putting their first foot forward in that space, and which is a great take, to be honest. I mean, I was wondering that this field itself, the design field, is moving in this direction where designers are more and more collaborative with the AI features inside the platforms. Like, take an example where I'm working on my capstone. Now, for the first draft, we had the ideas, we had the research, we had the features. We just had a way to draft it. We just used ChatGPT to draft it. And then we added everything inside V0. And it created the first draft of things for us. So,
based on text or based on images?
Based on just text.
Okay.
So when I said product managers, because they have the ideas.
Right. Then they can type it.
They can type it, they can just speak with that.
They're good writers most of the time.
Exactly. And which would give them more ideas, which would be more empowering for them. But it would be, in some ways, also creating an intersection between the role of a designer and a product manager. Because now product manager would also have the agency to see their designs visually coming out of right after the interface.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But what I'm most excited about, though, is when they can integrate Figma Make with classic Figma, when you can just design your entire flow in Figma with like layers and like the way we design, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then just click a button that says, I guess maybe publish, right? But instead of it being a website, it actually can have all the logic and the user flow that you built into the product.
Makes sense.
So I hope that's what's next.
I hope so. I think they just have all the pieces in place. They just have to fix it in a way where it works. But
because when you design in regular Figma, you have dev mode.
Yeah.
Which it already converts everything to JSON or whatever language, So hypothetically, they could. So it's probably just a matter of time before they release it, because there's no way they're not thinking about it and building it right now.
Of course, because
so maybe next config, or we'll see.
I don't think they would even need a config. They would be just rolling it out. They haven't highlighted that, and it's not in the hands of the users yet. I mean, majority of the users, it's just being tested by some people. All the features, Figma sites, not just all. I feel Figma sites and Figma Make is not in the hands of the users yet. Figma Buzz is.
Okay, what's Figma Buzz? Okay, yeah. What's that
one? Have you used Canva?
Yeah, to like make a poster or something?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
it's just the same thing. With the flexibility of
just
Figma.
A super simple type of thing. A lot of templates. Okay. Graphic design.
Exactly. I mean, not graphic design, not particularly graphic design.
But like in its like most simplest form.
Exactly.
Like
more templatized way of, or more, how to use this word? Templatized way of using things and getting things done. And also they presented it in a way in the keynote itself, where someone who was managing the education part of the Figma, as in .edu.
Oh, for my education. Okay.
Yeah. So they mentioned that the individual who is managing everything, I think they were the chief innovation officer. They sent some files to that individual, and they have some difficulty to navigating those files because it's complex Figma files. So
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
they showcased it in
Yeah.
a way that it was for an audience who are not that tech savvy,
Right.
but can also use Figma's flexibility and collaboration things, which already Canva is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's so interesting.
yeah,
Because remember we talked about it on the last podcast around Figma's business model being super scalable because it invites everyone to collaborate on the product.
exactly.
But now it invites even more people that are outside the product
Yeah,
to be able to use Figma and to create different assets and things that are needed for a company.
I feel that is where sometimes the problem starts, because when you open the gates for everyone, the product sometimes become generalized. So I feel this is something that's happening where Figma is trying to be a product, a one-stop shop for all the kinds of creatives. We don't have
Yeah.
video editing, or we don't have those things yet. But in terms of designing, in terms of graphic designing, in terms of visual design, in terms of product ideation, we have a lot of things over there happening.
Yeah.
So if
yeah.
it is moving in a space where it's just a one-stop shop, I feel the product should not lose its identity.
I mean, I actually do agree with you, but I also think we may be biased because I think what we see people using Figma for is making products and making websites. But I'm sure there are a lot of people like on the graphic design side that make, the advertisements and things like that are wanting to shift to Figma, but maybe Figma doesn't fully support them. But they don't like the old tools like Adobe stuff, but they want to use Figma more. And
Makes
this
sense.
may be more for those guys. Because Figma, they always talk about designers. They never say just product designers. They never say just UX designers. So it might be for, the rest of the designers.
I think
But we're not them. So
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think you're absolutely right. We are a little bit biased in those terms,
yeah.
but yeah, it just opened another floodgate.
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible they overgeneralize for sure. And then they kind of lose that core grasp on the niche.
Yes.
And then someone else comes in with a product that's perfect for product design.
Yeah.
And then they lose users again, like Adobe lose users. So yeah, I get that concern. That's possible. Yeah.
But I think if they're creating an ecosystem, because they just didn't launch Buzz and the Figma Draw, they launched Make and Sites. So
Right.
those
Those are the big ones.
They are creating some guardrails for the user. Not the guardrails. They're creating some space where the user can have all the things. And although they're generalizing, but they're also they're not just going horizontally. They're also going vertically.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So I feel
yeah, they're just stepping on toes now.
yeah.
Like they're stepping on developers' toes. They're stepping on all these like CMS platforms' toes. The CMS platforms. That's I don't know how many billions, but that market is huge.
Yeah.
And now with Figma Sites, so many teams and companies are going to be migrating away from all these CMS things.
Exactly. What exactly do you mean by CMS? Are you talking about Framer, or are you talking
Well,
about...
I'm talking about like Optimizely,
Oh, okay.
which is like a lot of Fortune 500 companies use for like basically just hosting a CMS. And then I guess Webflow would be another example. But there's actually a bunch of CMS based web tools. But with Figma being able to launch it directly in Figma, and I'm sure that Figma's gonna have their own CMS because you have to have a CMS if it's going to be a web tool. So yeah, it's gonna step on a lot of toes, and it's gonna expand their offering by a lot because they're gonna charge more for the CMS. Because if they're gonna have the base version.
I think so,
Then
yeah.
they're gonna have a pro and like enterprise tier to host like a big CMS and all like the shopping capabilities. Like we didn't talk about Shopify.
Yeah.
It's stepping on Shopify's toes, right? Because like people would go to Shopify to make a site that was like scalable for shopping and e-commerce. Once Figma is able to basically integrate all those kind of features, people are just going to build it on Figma because they can design better on Figma and then get the exact same perks of being on Shopify.
I think so. But the people, I still feel the people who are not familiar with designs, the people who just want things as a template and they can just start things off.
Yeah.
Then that is currently the space for Shopify. But I have no hesitation to say that people are still gonna Figma is still gonna tap into that space there because the concept of Buzz is having those templates ready for the users to use it whenever they can, whatever they can do around it. And if this is happening, this would also be happening for the sites. They have some template sites, they have some portfolios, they have a lot of things, which is why people usually love going to Framer or Webflow because they have a community. And Figma is built on community. Figma, they just opened so many doors for so many different communities to build upon because it was just Figma files before this. Now we have Figma sites, Figma Make. You can make things and you can directly ship to the community. I'm assuming they haven't told how the community would work around it. But I'm pretty sure they would also have a way to just publicize things and people can use that work in open source, or if not, there will always be an option if they want to publish it to public or keep it private.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
It can also lead to monetization in some ways.
What kind of? Yeah, where? Tell me. Yeah, how?
Think of it as you create an application in Figma and you create it with putting in your effort, your time, and it's something that fits so well for people that you can white label it from Figma itself. What if Figma becomes a market space in that way?
Yeah, it totally could. Yeah, I think you can already sell Figma community files anyway.
Yeah.
So just expanding that more
You
to
can
be.
sell?
Yeah. You can buy because you can.
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
So yeah, I mean,
from what I remember, at least, I'm pretty sure because you can buy plugins, of course. But I'm pretty sure you can also buy community files as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel I've always clicked the free option. And
same. I look at the free stuff for sure. Yeah.
So I'm not sure about that, but it just opens up so many chances for people to do so many things. And it just starts with writing things down. If you have the idea, if you can think of something unique, something that stands out, you can build it and you can ship it and maybe you can earn money with it as well.
Yep.
It's just
all in Figma.
In Figma.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I feel one more thing that I would like to address is the businesses that are providing resources. I feel they are striving the most because Figma also needs ChatGPT or Sonnet, which is from Claude, which is from Anthropic. So if someone is providing you the sources of things, I feel that is where most of the profit I can see happening, because people would be using Figma, but at the back end, they're using a very well-designed, beautiful wrapper around.
No, you're not calling Figma a ChatGPT wrapper, are you? No. Oh my!
I'm not. They don't have the model themselves, right?
Yeah, it's not their model.
It's not their model.
Even their image model is not their model.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm not saying the concept of wrapper.
It's just funny. Keep going. Yeah.
I mean, if you think logically, it would be somewhere categorized as a wrapper. I'm not saying that Figma is a wrapper now, but I feel something which is wrapper, which we used to call wrapper, was just a very small layer which was on top of ChatGPT. This is an entire application, a collaborative platform on the basis of, and ChatGPT is just a facilitator which is providing you sources, and not just ChatGPT, all the kinds of LLM they are there. So I feel all the applications, I mean, if you have to categorize them as tiers, I feel there would be these applications like these LLMs, and then there would be applications which are using just some layers of that their own code, and then they are directly using these LLMs. And then there are platforms like Figma and Cursor and Windsurf, which they have built their platform on the basis of it. But these LLMs work as a very important component of it because everything is around them. So
Right.
yeah, I won't call it a wrapper.
Well, it's okay. You can, but not negatively
Yeah,
because
yeah, exactly.
while I didn't watch the keynote for Config,
Yeah.
I watched the keynote for Sequoia Venture Capital's AI Summit.
I saw that. Yeah.
And they made a really good analysis of like the whole ChatGPT wrapper thing, saying that all or most of the value from AI is going to be at the application layer and
Yeah.
not necessarily the model layer.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And they compared it to like the iPhone. Like Apple made a lot of money, right? Just on the iPhone. But there was even more money made on all the software that was built for it, right?
Yeah.
So all the apps like Airbnb, Uber, all those combined, the application layer can make way more money than just the hardware.
I completely agree with you. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's totally okay to be a ChatGPT wrapper.
I think,
yeah.
and this is something that I've seen in all the big booms of technology. Though it be internet is used itself as a source, but so many things. I mean, everything is built on internet, right? Then we have phones, which built on one more level or one more layer to the internet, and then it used that form factor to you and also the internet to build more applications. And now we have on top of it, we have applications using LLMs to work toward things. So I feel every bit and piece of technology is building on top of each other and giving us what we have right now. But I completely understand the concept that you mentioned right now, and I completely agree with you.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree with you too.
Yeah.
So should we move to our next topic? Now we're talking about application layer, Airbnb.
Yeah.
And they had a new redesign, but also launched some new features. So now on Airbnb, you can not just book your stay, you can also book experiences. You can book services. Some of the examples they gave, they're like, if you're in Paris about to propose to your new wife,
you want flowers,
or you want someone to take those photos,
by
the Eiffel Tower, you can order that all through Airbnb.
Yeah.
Right? You can book restaurants through Airbnb in advance. All these different things. You can plan out your full vacation, which is pretty cool.
Not just stay,
yeah, your full vacation. Everything you want to do, from sunrise yoga in Bali or to whatever it is. Yeah.
I mean, this is another example of making the product a little more generalized.
But yeah, okay. No, it's different. Okay. Because I feel like you say generalized in a bad sense.
I'm not saying generalized in a bad sense. I'm saying that it's opening more doors for people to use it, and also for creating more value, because more people would be able to register themselves in that platform. More people will be able to.
Right.
The only thing that I'm not trying to show it in a negative light, but when we think of this from the perspective of organization, for sure it will increase your user base. It will increase the places where or the scenarios where users are using your platform, but it also divides your focus, right? Do you feel that?
I don't know if I partly, but I don't think so. I think there's two things here. I don't think they're going to grow their user base that much based on this, but I do think the customer lifetime value of one user is going to go from here to here.
Makes sense, yeah.
Right? Because booking a stay is only a small expense of a trip. It's going to be all the things that you do on that trip is like what you spend the most money on. So now they're taking some of that money that they would maybe spend on a different website to book things. Now they're, getting that value. And it's going to be the same users, but just getting more from them. I don't think this is more of this could be a market expander. Maybe someone comes just for booking a yoga retreat. Yeah. But I doubt that's the case. I think it's more about serving their existing customers better. That's how I'm seeing it.
Tell me something. Yeah. When I say Airbnb, what is that one thing that comes to your mind?
Yeah, staying at homes for sure.
Staying at homes, right?
Yeah.
I feel there would be an aggressive marketing push that would be needed, so that when you think of Airbnb, it would not just be staying at places. It would also be experiencing the entire experience of traveling or maybe taking a service or whatever that would be.
Yeah.
I feel that's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that in any negative light that it's a bad thing to expand. The thing that I'm saying is it would be a little difficult to create that impression that it's a one-stop shop for everyone, because some people would be knowing this for this particular experience, or someone would be knowing it for that particular experience.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm thinking about, Uber.
Yeah.
And they launched Uber Eats.
Yeah.
Of course, they have to do a very aggressive marketing push, like you said.
Exactly. Yeah.
But at the same time, I have a good amount of friends. None of my friends use Uber Eats. They all use DoorDash.
Exactly.
So maybe there's something to be said there where I love Airbnb, and I think it's, the way they're launching it and positioning it makes a lot of sense.
Exactly.
And it's honestly a lot more integrated than Uber and Uber Eats.
Yeah.
So I think it's much better position to succeed.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But that could be a concern. Because it's not the natural thing you think about
Airbnb,
when you think about Airbnb.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, just building upon the point that you mentioned, I completely agree. They have positioned themselves in a much better stance or position where they are providing some part of a similar experience or improving that experience. Now, when you think of cabs and foods,
you're not gonna have a food in the cab and
exactly, yeah,
right? Because you're already at home if you're gonna order food.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
It's totally different scenarios.
But when you think of Airbnb,
why did they do that? Why did they do that? That's funny. That's funny. Yeah.
But when you think of Airbnb, it would be a great experience if with the Airbnb, if you can just prepare your stay and you can also have your food delivered, or you can have your services around them, or you can have your tickets booked, or if
while you're on vacation, just use Airbnb.
Exactly. Yeah. It would be a vacation application.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's
full vacation. Yeah.
So I love that they are doing this.
Yeah.
And I completely love the way this industry is moving. It's just that if someone was doing something great, I feel they should keep doing that thing great. And with respect to it, with side by side, they should add more things to it, but should not lose that individuality that they had.
I think they're going to do it in a really good way. Like if you see like the video, right? It's like there's a whole new travel planning experience.
I completely agree with you. I'm not saying. I'm just generally saying that if someone is trying to do something, I feel they should have one thing solid, and other things should not hinder what they previously used to do great. I feel that's what I'm trying to convey.
But I don't think it will, though. It
won't. Not in the Airbnb's case.
Yeah, I don't think. Because Airbnb, it starts with booking your place.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, do you want to continue planning for your stay in Miami or something?
And we don't know the experience yet, the entire experience. We just have seen the marketing video, that one single thing. The founder shared, and we're talking on the basis of it.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited.
We'll play with it soon.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I will be playing it with Drew, and I feel this is an amazing opportunity for all the individuals who are already registered in the Airbnb, because it's somehow gonna increase their visibility as well, right?
Yep.
If people are booking services, they would also be looking for stays.
Right.
And if people are looking for stays, they'll also be looking for services. So,
that could be interesting for like small businesses, in these different places.
Absolutely.
And it can give people a more rich experience, because a lot of times when you like try to plan for a new place, maybe you're using Google, maybe you're using TikTok. TikTok can help you find good places too, and like all that kind of stuff. But this could be an interesting way where you discover new types of businesses that are maybe more like hip and modern, younger type of feel, newer.
Absolutely.
Because they advertise on Airbnb as well, which is interesting. Because you're not going to see McDonald's and stuff. Like they're not, you're not going to like, because when you Google like what's in Los Angeles, you're going to see a bunch of chain restaurants and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully on Airbnb you don't get like all that kind of stuff. Hopefully you get like more cool niche stuff, because there's some like really cool houses, right? You can like you can like they have some really unique filters where it's not just like a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom. They're like, I want something futuristic. I want something mid-century modern or something. Either have these like really unique filters. So I hope they kind of bring that experience into like the services and like the experiences tab.
Makes
so
sense.
you can like try to find experiences that are like more for someone that's into art.
Yeah.
Or someone that's more into the woods and outdoor stuff.
No, I
feel like it'd
completely
be
agree
cool.
with you.
Yeah.
The way they have established the customization that the user can do
Yeah.
on their search of their stay, I feel that's just amazing on that platform. I also wanted to share something. This brings me to the point of seamless interactions. I have been writing an article on it, and some of the examples, if I bring on right now, is you might be familiar with TikTok Shop, right? We briefly discussed right now. They had a social media platform, and they saw an opportunity to advertise things, which is a way of using the social media platform, and then they have it seamlessly inside their platform itself, where people are now using TikTok to sell things. People are creating TikToks and they're publishing it on their TikTok feeds, as well as interacting it, as well as making those interactions where people can directly shop from those reels or videos,
Right.
or those TikToks. Sorry.
Basically ads. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So
User generated ads. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So just finding out some auxiliary things that your application can do, and then creating ways where it can be done inside your application itself. I feel that's where things would be moving around, because we talked about Figma. It's doing that. We talked about Airbnb. It just launched something around that. And I think all the applications, all the big players in the industry, I think would be moving in this direction. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree. I don't really have much to add. I think that's a good sense right there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think okay, so it's not just happening from recent days. It has been a mindset, I feel. So if you think about Meta, it did not have just a single platform. It captured a lot of platforms to create your social media experience, right? And then if you talk about Match Group, they have Tinder, they have do they have Bumble as well? I'm not sure.
Maybe.
I'm not sure. They have Grindr and all those applications. So this categorization, or having this as an umbrella organization and having multiple different segmentations that cater different organizations, that used to happen. Now it's happening in a different way. Now there is just one application, but it's doing all the things that you would. They had a primary experience, and then it also is moving towards incorporating all the auxiliary experiences. That's what I'm thinking.
I see. Yeah, I think I do have something to say, actually, because that is very interesting. And part of there's a balance that needs to be had too.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a common complaint now with TikTok is that it just feels like it's a shopping experience most of the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like you click on one thing, or you spend you watch a full TikTok on like this one product, and now you see every other ad or every other swipe really is like something related to that. But I think that's kind of like something, if you like study like Chinese apps, they have like these thing called super apps where like everything is super integrated with like I think on WeChat it's like for talking, it's for social media. I think they have a shopping thing, and they also have like you can even like pay your bills on it, stuff like that. So I think that business model, is like trickling into this product, and I think we're going to see more products kind of leverage it, because it definitely is probably successful on the business side for helping them make more money.
No, I think I completely agree with you. And just building on that point, the deciding factor on how well this would be executed would be the user's retention. I feel if you're watching TikToks, and if a TikTok shop ad or a shoppable TikTok comes in, it creates an experience where after a point of time, the user might get frustrated.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm feeling that. People are
Yeah.
feeling that. Yeah.
This is something that would create, this would drive in business for sure, but this would also create some friction for the user. But the way Airbnb is doing, it's not doing that. It has its flow. It's not creating disruption in the flow.
Right.
So I feel that is where the difference is.
Yeah.
That is where the things would be going great. But I can also think of a scenario. Let's talk about Figma. Let's say if Figma comes, a designer comes in at Figma who just knows how to draw. They don't know how to use the design part of Figma, as in the design tool, the design interface. It might be a little bit overwhelming for them to jump from the draw to design part and to design something. It would be difficult. So they won't be losing the customer, but there always would be a learning curve for that. I feel currently I am feeling so comfortable because I have been a developer in my past life. I am a designer right now and I know how to draw things. So if I have to use Figma Buzz, it's just going to be very easy for me because I'm aware of Figma's interface.
Right.
I know how layers work. I know everything, ins and outs of it. But if someone is just using the Figma Buzz part or the Figma Buzz application inside Figma, they would be overwhelmed by other aspects of it. They would be more interested by a Figma Make because they would just have to type things in. So there would be a retention for the user who is coming from different channels, but there will also be a learning curve.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
So yeah.
But I love your take though on integrated software.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be a theme we see in the next few years for established software companies that were like born in the 2010s. Like how are they now going to expand and increase their revenue, but also deepen their relationships with their customers?
Exactly, yeah.
Like Airbnb is doing it in the perfect way.
Perfect way.
So
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, been thinking a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like that. Yeah.
All right. Which brings us to the next topic. Do we have something to cover?
No, this is the next topic. Yeah.
Awesome. So just to moving forward to the next topic, which is a great entry point to it. I feel there are some qualities of a designer that are really essential to the core of designing something or to creating a product. And some of the qualities won't be replaced by any kind of external factors.
Yeah, was that a talk at Config? Like how to not be replaced by AI?
Was there?
I should be. If it wasn't there, it should have been there.
I think so.
That definitely was on people's minds.
There is, yeah. I mean, if there is not a particular talk, last year we were at Config, right?
Yeah.
People were indicating some things in each and every talk.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel. So there has been a buzz around this and people have been talking. I curated a small list of things that I feel would not be replaced by AI at all.
Yeah.
The first thing in my list, and I would love to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
First thing is systems thinking. Because currently AI, I feel, is really helpful in segmented parts of things. You have to give the entire context to it to make a sense of everything. But if you are working in an organization which has multiple segments and you have been working there for a while, you would have the knowledge of how the system works. You would have the knowledge of how things are working. And you would also, if you want to integrate something, I think you would be the right person to, you would be having the context of the users, you have the context of the research, you would have the context of everything that is needed to think of a piece that would fit perfectly at that point of time. I feel it would be a tedious task. It would be less time taking for sure, but it would be a tedious task to come up with something by giving AI so much of context. So thinking on your foot and doing systems thinking or being good at systems thinking, I feel that's just that is something that will not be replaced, because at the end of it, there should be someone who should say that, yes, this is the ideal solution at the end of it. Because otherwise everything would be done through AI, right? I mean, if you...
Well, let me add something there.
Yes,
okay?
Go for it, yeah.
Just to narrow the scope of this
Uh-huh.
a little bit more about
Uh-huh.
systems thinking for designers.
Yeah.
Because system thinking for designers is really just like user flows, or like how does it go from, like, how does a user interact with the system?
Mm-hmm.
How does the system respond?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a data layer that it needs to happen there to respond back? So it's abstract. At the surface level, an AI can
Yeah.
do it. Like an AI understands a product well enough to like know what are the main interactions, what are like the sub interactions, what else should you be thinking about. But that's like surface level. Then there's like the system level. Then there's the data level. And it's gonna be really hard for the AI to know all three of those layers, like we do, right? And we can also, if we don't know what the data layer is like, we can go ask somebody. But like, yeah, that's the part where I think AI will fall short. But I think at one layer only, if it had the context, I think AI could do it pretty well.
Yeah.
But to do it effectively, like you're saying, no.
It would be difficult.
Yeah.
And it's not just so there are so many data points, right, that are getting used in this process of thinking through systems.
Yeah.
I feel if there is a way that AI can AI can facilitate systems thinking, but at the end of the day, you are the decision maker, right? You should know what or how things would be interacting in your system to even audit that and say that, yeah, this is a great solution, which is true about everything.
That's a startup idea, though.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you let AI help facilitate things?
I was going to that point, yeah. But continue, yeah.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
You said, how can you let AI facilitate things, or facilitate a systems thinking session, or whatever it is?
I was more talking in terms of a startup idea.
Oh,
yeah.
Were you? I clicked right away for me, and I was like, that could be $1 billion idea.
Yeah.
That could be scalable to a bunch of different
exactly.
situations.
I mean, also not just this. If you think of a platform that just okay, I don't think there's a facility right now where you have a bunch of data of your organization. There's no way right now where you can create a summary or at least a draft of your entire organization, which you can feed it to ChatGPT, and it can have that context about everything.
Like having
exactly
a full RAG on your full company.
Exactly.
Well, no, people do that though.
How do they do that? I'm not aware of that.
Because like you can basically, when you're making a RAG, retrieval augmented generation.
Yeah.
It's a long jargon. Basically just feed it a bunch of files.
It's like a personalized LLM.
Yeah, and then sometimes some companies, some startups that not as massive as like big companies, they'll like, you can just connect to your Google Drive. Like there's this one company, a startup, UWM, called Truffle Pig, where you can like connect like your Google Drive or something like that, and it'll create a RAG based on that. So now you can chat with this thing with all the information just from whatever files are in your Google Drive.
Exactly.
So like hypothetically you could.
Yeah.
You could hypothetically.
I mean, if you have the infrastructure, I'll love to give you an example from the Microsoft ecosystem. So for all the organizations that are using Microsoft's ecosystem, Microsoft 360, and they're paying for Copilot, I think that's the best way to get things done, because everything is inside one umbrella. All your documents, all your files, all your presentations, all your chats, all your meetings, everything is facilitated through that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So it just creates a seamless experience of you retrieving any kind of information. And spoiler alert, this is something that we are working for a capstone.
Are you allowed to? Don't you have an NDA?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
we're not breaking the Microsoft NDA.
No. We are not doing any kind of NDA. This is something that Copilot is already doing. We are just finding the best ways for an application of it. So we are not breaking any NDA.
Okay.
We're not breaking anything. But I feel it's a really cool thing that you have an ecosystem inside which you have a lot of things you have all your documents, you have all your chats, you have all your meetings, transcriptions, everything. And then you can just ask a question around it. And you can, if you want to target something, if you can select, I want to target maybe Microsoft Word. I have the knowledge that this file might be in the Word, and you can just retrieve any information by a centralized chat experience. So yeah, I mean, that's what we are doing for onboarding new employees, because it's a very heavy task for a new employee.
Interesting. Yeah.
So yeah.
Very cool. That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we are trying to achieve.
Nice.
So yeah.
Okay, so what were the other qualities of a designer, though, that you wanted to talk about?
So yeah, systems thinking is first. Then another is visual communication.
Okay, like visual design?
Visual design, yes.
Okay.
So communicating your thoughts, communicating your feelings through visual design. I feel that's something that you should have. This should be something that you have a strong hold on, because let's say if you're using any of the applications or any of the LLMs to create anything, you should know what a beautiful design and a functional design and something that speaks to your customer, how it should look like. Then only it would make sense to use these tools to get some things done, and then validate them on the basis of your skills. So I feel all the skills that I would be talking about, they can be facilitated by artificial intelligence, but they cannot be replaced by them. The next one is communication skills. You cannot replace communication skills. I mean, if it is an email, it can help you to write an email better. But if you are face to face, if you're talking to someone, if you have to communicate something in the best way possible, I think stakeholder management and everything comes within this topic. So communication skills, your visual communication, systems thinking, these skills cannot be replaced. Some things that you might need to learn with the upcoming time is adaptability, and how fast you adapt yourself with the upcoming landscape, how fast you adapt yourselves with new ways the team is working, because every day something new is coming and every day something new is improving the workflow of the teams, right? So I feel adaptability is another. And having an entrepreneurial mindset, it's just going to boost everything up, because you're going to think from the perspective of the business. You're going to think from the perspective of how the user itself can turn something out into the business. Like I talked about making a market space using Figma sites, right? So you have to think about those things as well while you are developing yourself as a product designer.
Totally. And I think thinking about the business things are something that some designers may not be too concerned about, or maybe even too scared to lean into, because they feel it may make them less empathetic to the user. But if you think about it, like CEOs of companies, like you see like Zuck, for example, he cares about how users feel about Facebook.
Exactly, yeah.
He doesn't only care about the business. He knows that the business only succeeds if users love the product.
Yeah.
So I think both things go hand in hand.
Exactly.
So I totally agree. You should definitely dive more into how can the design unlock more business value. And also from a product standpoint, how can we deepen or like extend the product to serve our customer better, to serve the market better, and also serve our own company better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, just to add a point on communication skills, at any point of time, though it be a junior designer, though it be a senior designer, or it would be a CEO, they would have to have the convincing skills. They would have to have the skills. Yeah, exactly. The skills to influence people. And they would also have to have the skill to get buy-in and cater the audience or cater the needs of the audience, or tell them what they want to hear by also pushing their idea in. I feel that's a skill that every designer should have. It's just going to become more and more important with time.
Agreed.
So yeah, these were some of the things that were on top of my mind.
Yeah, I guess I can add one more. I wouldn't say it's like a tenet or like a skill like that, but I think that, you know, one thing for a designer to succeed in this current climate is, one, you have to be okay, man, they have to be. But I think something that really helps you exceed is one, high intelligence combined with high energy. I think
proactiveness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like if you're a great designer, you think amazing, but you're not, really executing that in your portfolio, not spending the time in your portfolio. Don't have the energy to do it, or you don't have the energy to write something, to share your perspective, or even when you're on a product team, are you able to go above and beyond and actually influence the product in a way that's more than what was expected of you? That's the way you succeed now. It's not like you can't just be smart and then get a job anymore. It's about being smart and having high energy. So that'd be my 2 cents to add to it.
I think that's a really interesting insight. And the way I'm thinking is that you have to think yourself as a business, and you have to be perceptive, and also you have to sell yourself as much as you can. You have to learn things first, and you have to also tell that you're learning, and this is how you're learning, and this is how you're executing. I feel being proactive and being perceptive and thinking yourself as a brand and as a business, I feel that's an important skill to have.
Totally. 100%. Yeah.
I feel that could be a great note to end things up.
Yeah. I think we can go deeper into like what makes a designer successful in today's age.
Yeah.
Because what changed from last year or 2 years ago to today? But yeah, that could be a whole episode. But yeah, this is a great place to close.
Yeah. Just like every time, we would love to know your feedback. We would love to know if there's something that we can do, or if there are some topics that you're interested to learn a little bit more about and we can speak to. Just drop that comment. We are designers. We love iterating. And with that, this is again Ayush Chaudhary and Dayton Kelly.
Yes.
And this is Design Should Be Fun. Signing out.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.